Found out my dead best friend was in love with my wife. I'm writing this as a confession because I don't know where else to speak about this, and I don't want my kids finding this out on my main account. My friend died a few months back due to heart problems. He was taking care of himself, so it was a shock to everyone, especially his wife who was with him at their house when he died. Due to this, she decided to move somewhere else, and because she and her daughter were still distraught, she asked me to pack up his stuff. He had some boxes in his basement, and after a while, I started feeling nostalgic and decided to look into them. I found pictures of us from when we were kids all the way to before we got married. That was enough to make me feel bad, and I just got back to taping them up. But one of the boxes seemed to be in much better condition, so I decided to check it in case it was something important. To my surprise, I found pictures of him and my wife from when we used to hang out together, as well as more recent pictures from family reunions. The most recent being from my wife's birthday party. Alongside the pictures, there were letters that he never sent her. The first one dated 2 months before I met her. The last one was also the same date as her birthday party. There was one that stood out the most, one from after I started dating her. He wrote that his time had passed, and since my happiness was as important as his own, he would watch over us. In the following days, the weight of the unspoken secret bore down on me like a relentless storm, casting a shadow over every interaction with my wife. The images of my friend and my wife together, coupled with the heartfelt letters he had written, fueled a tempest of conflicting emotions within me. Unable to contain the turmoil any longer, I found myself torn between revealing the contents of the box to my wife and preserving the facade of our seemingly perfect marriage. The burden of this hidden truth strained our relationship, creating an invisible chasm that threatened to widen with each passing day. As I grappled with the decision, the tension between us became palpable. Our once joyous moments were now tinged with the unspoken knowledge that hovered in the background, threatening to unravel the very fabric of our union. Sleepless nights and tortured thoughts consumed me, and the lines between reality and the haunting images from the box blurred into a disorienting haze. One fateful evening, unable to bear the weight any longer, I summoned the courage to share the truth with my wife. The revelation triggered an emotional tempest, with accusations, tears, and shattered trust swirling around us. The air crackled with the intensity of a brewing storm as the foundations of our marriage trembled under the weight of the unveiled secret. In the aftermath, we faced the daunting task of rebuilding what was left of our shattered connection. The journey to reconciliation was fraught with heart-wrenching conversations, sleepless nights, and a constant battle to redefine the boundaries of trust. The drama unfolded like a tragic opera, with moments of anguish, despair, and fragile hope interwoven into the narrative of our lives. Ultimately, whether our love would emerge from the storm stronger or succumb to the tempest of revelation remained uncertain. The drama of that pivotal moment in our marriage became an indelible chapter, forever etched in the annals of our shared history, a tumultuous saga that tested the resilience of love in the face of hidden truths. And amidst the chaos, my friend's box, once a keeper of secrets, became a symbol of the intricate dance between love, loss, and the fragility of the human heart.
After 13 years clean and 8 years of marriage, I did heroin 3 weeks ago and almost came close to fully relapsing. I faced challenges as a young person struggling with addiction in the Lower East Side of Manhattan during the 1990s. I managed to overcome my substance abuse at the age of 21 and later married my amazing and beautiful wife at 26. She's aware of my past as an addict. For years, the concept of relapsing didn't occupy much of my thoughts. It felt like a distant memory, especially with the responsibilities of marriage and raising children. However, 3 weeks ago, I found myself in a challenging situation. During a friend's birthday celebration in Bushwick, I ended up getting excessively drunk. My low alcohol tolerance, combined with unexpected encounters with a dealer and other individuals, led to a night of poor decisions, culminating in using heroin. The following days were filled with anxiety, cravings, and unsettling sensations. Despite experiencing mental turmoil, I managed to resist the urge to seek heroin for different times. Gratefully, I didn't encounter any street dealers during those instances. This made me reflect on the precarious nature of those moments and express gratitude for not succumbing to temptation. This experience shook the self-perception I had developed over the years. I no longer feel as steadfast in my strength against addiction. It's a humbling realization that heroin's power remains significant. Drawing a parallel to my aunt's battle with cancer, I understand the feeling of thinking a challenge is behind you, only to have it resurface. My resolve against addiction feels tested, like a once eradicated cancer returning to the screening. The first few days after that particular incident outside the bar were the toughest. However, upon reuniting with my wife and kids, the urges diminished significantly. The sight of my family helped me regain perspective and appreciate the love and support surrounding me. Despite the internal struggle, I've chosen not to disclose this incident to my family, especially considering my wife met me 5 years into my recovery and may not fully comprehend that part of my past. I'm committed to maintaining their peace of mind and protecting them from the knowledge of this lapse. Moving forward, I've decided to avoid excessive drinking, especially in situations where drugs might be accessible. While I have no intention of getting drunk in the city again, I acknowledge the importance of responsible choices. I remain approximately 90% sure that I won't touch heroin again, still maintaining confidence in myself. However, the fact that this certainty used to be at 99% terrifies me. Despite acknowledging heroin's potency, my dedication to my family is stronger. The thought of jeopardizing their well-being outweighs any allure the substance may hold. I am resolute in ensuring my wife and children never experience the turmoil of having an addict in their midst. I prioritize their happiness and stability over the fleeting pleasure heroin may provide, reaffirming my commitment to a life free from addiction. As I navigate this challenging period, I find solace in sharing my experiences and seeking support from those who understand the complexities of addiction. Acknowledging my vulnerabilities has become a crucial step in my ongoing journey towards maintaining a healthy and fulfilling life. It is a reminder that recovery is not a linear path, but rather a continuous process of self-discovery and resilience. In the aftermath of this recent struggle, I have intensified my commitment to therapy and support groups, recognizing the importance of seeking professional guidance to navigate the intricate emotions surrounding addiction. I am determined to use this setback as a catalyst for personal growth, strengthening my resolve to protect the life I have built with my family. The unwavering support of my wife and the love of my children serve as powerful motivators in my ongoing battle against the temptations of addiction. I am grateful for the second chance I have been given, and remain steadfast in my determination to emerge from this experience as a stronger and more resilient individual. As I share my story, I hope it resonates with others facing similar struggles, emphasizing the significance of seeking help and acknowledging the fragility of the recovery journey. Every setback is an opportunity for renewed commitment and a reminder of the enduring strength that lies within. Together, with the support of loved ones and professional resources, we can navigate the complexities of addiction and emerge victorious in our pursuit of a fulfilling and drug-free life.
I snooped on the CEO's email account and got myself fired. A couple of years after college, I worked as an analyst at a small private equity firm with a notoriously unpleasant CEO. Despite being in my 40s, he was a money-driven millionaire with no business ethics, willing to screw over anyone for personal gain. My role as an analyst expanded into the realm of technology due to my semi-tech-savvy skills in a small office of around 20 people. Handling tasks like setting up servers and solving basic tech issues, I gradually became the go-to millennial office computer girl. Despite lacking formal qualifications, I managed to excel in tech-related responsibilities. With no extra pay, I took on more significant tasks, planning computer systems for owned businesses and overseeing installations. After enduring years of mistreatment and stagnant career growth, I decided to break free from the 9-to-8 life and start my own consulting business. To avoid immediate financial risks, I began building my client base while still earning a steady paycheck. Juggling my office job and side business, I skillfully manipulated my position, spending the majority of my workday on personal ventures. As my side business thrived, my dedication to the office job waned. I started arriving late, taking advantage of the fact that I was indispensable due to my unique skill set. Despite discontent among coworkers, I continued my dual work life, even monitoring my own network activity. 2 months into my tardy routine and brazen side business operations, I discovered an email thread discussing my imminent termination. In a strategic move, I initiated a meeting with the CEO to discuss my performance, dropping hints about my awareness of their plans. During the meeting, I openly admitted to being a subpar employee and hinted at my suspicion of an impending termination. Shocked, the CEO listened as I conveyed my entrepreneurial aspirations and the indispensability of my current role. Proposing a deal, I suggested a month of finishing ongoing projects, training a replacement, and providing remote assistance afterward. Playing into his perception of winning the negotiation, I included the possibility of quitting in my proposal. The CEO, recognizing the potential chaos if I left abruptly, agreed to my terms, effectively securing my position and turning the company into a paying client. During the transitional month, I continued working as I pleased while training my replacement. After fulfilling my commitment, I charged the company triple for remote tasks, gradually distancing myself until I dropped them entirely. Even after this ordeal, the CEO sought my advice years later, to which I responded with polite refusals. Despite the initial success of my consulting business, the transition from a salaried position to entrepreneurial freedom came with its own set of challenges. While relishing the autonomy of being my own boss, I grappled with the responsibilities that accompanied it. The shift from a structured office environment to the unpredictability of entrepreneurship demanded a recalibration of my work habits and time management skills. Yet, the newfound control over my professional destiny outweighed any hurdles, and I embraced the journey with a resilient spirit. As my consulting venture continued to flourish, I expanded my client base beyond the confines of my former employer. Securing contracts with diverse businesses allowed me to diversify my skills and refine my expertise. The ability to choose projects that aligned with my passions brought a renewed sense of purpose to my work. Moreover, the financial rewards of entrepreneurship surpassed my expectations, validating the decision to break free from the corporate grind. Reflecting on the audacious maneuver that saved me from termination, I recognized the importance of strategic planning and leveraging unique skills in professional negotiations. While I don't endorse the invasion of privacy that occurred through accessing emails, it served as a catalyst for a pivotal moment in my career. The experience taught me invaluable lessons about adaptability, resilience, and the delicate dance of navigating the corporate landscape.
I lied to a blind neighbor and told him I moved away. Many years ago, I stood on one of my balconies, observing an obnoxious scene unfold as a taxi driver impatiently honked his horn, directing a blind man toward the hazardous direction of traffic. Filled with concern, my roommate and I rushed downstairs to assist the visually impaired neighbor. We scolded the insensitive driver and ensured the blind man safely reached the taxi. In an attempt to be helpful, I made the mistake of providing him with my phone number for future assistance. Soon, the phone calls started and they seemed incessant. Every time I offered him a ride, he would request detours without prior notice, disrupting the planned journey. My naturally calculated nature found this spontaneity unsettling, especially when these unplanned stops became a daily occurrence. He would even call to remind me of our agreed-upon rides, despite my consistent punctuality. Frustration reached its peak, prompting me to assess the extent of his blindness. When asked, he humorously replied, "Blind as a bat." Seizing an opportunity, I fabricated a job interview in the neighboring city, followed by the triumphant news of securing the position and impending relocation. After the imaginary move, an eerie silence replaced the daily ritual of providing rides, leaving me to awkwardly pass by him in silence as he stood on the sidewalk. The fabricated job and move served as my escape from the overwhelming requests, restoring a semblance of normalcy to my daily life. In the wake of my fabricated relocation, I found solace in the respite from the constant requests for rides. However, the blind neighbor's knack for creating peculiar situations lingered in my memory, leaving me relieved to be free from the daily rendezvous. One day, he called, claiming he urgently needed assistance in choosing a gift for his sister's birthday. Despite my initial reluctance, I found myself navigating through a shopping mall, describing countless items and enduring his indecisiveness. The seemingly simple task turned into a shopping odyssey, leaving me questioning the boundaries of neighborly goodwill. Another peculiar scenario unfolded when he insisted on accompanying me to a local park. As we strolled along, he expressed his desire to learn how to ride a bike, despite his visual impairment. With a mix of hesitation and amusement, I attempted to guide him through the process, realizing the absurdity of the situation as he wobbled precariously on the borrowed bicycle. In yet another unexpected turn of events, he requested assistance with assembling a complex piece of furniture he had purchased. What should have been a straightforward task turned into a puzzling endeavor as I attempted to convey assembly instructions verbally. The challenge brought a surreal twist to the mundane act of helping a neighbor. On a particularly unusual occasion, he insisted on joining me for a movie, emphasizing his desire to experience the film through vivid descriptions. As I narrated the scenes, I couldn't help but feel the peculiarity of describing visual content to someone who could only imagine the cinematic world. Despite the relief of distancing myself from the constant demands, the fabricated job and relocation weren't foolproof in deterring the blind neighbor's persistent creativity. One day, he called with an urgent request to accompany him to a pottery class. Unfamiliar with the intricacies of molding clay, I hesitantly agreed, only to find myself in a room full of aspiring artists. As I attempted to describe the tactile sensations and guide him through the process, the absurdity of the situation once again unfolded, highlighting the unforeseen adventures sparked by a simple act of neighborly goodwill. In another twist, he approached me with the idea of participating in a local dance competition. Despite his visual impairment, he was determined to showcase his dance moves. Faced with the challenge of describing intricate dance steps, I found myself in the unexpected role of a dance instructor. The experience, though unconventional, brought a new dimension to our interactions, illustrating the boundless possibilities that emerged from our unlikely connection.
I lie about having my university degree and it got me a great job. Many years ago, I attended an Ivy League university in Ontario, Canada, straight out of high school. While my grades weren't stellar, they were enough to secure my spot. However, my university experience was marked more by partying than studying. Despite my lackluster academic dedication, I managed to pass all my first-year classes. By the second year, my attendance waned, and laziness seeped into my coursework, resulting in terrible marks and failed courses. Midway through the third year, I decided to drop out and pursue a job in landscaping. After a year in landscaping, I began to regret not putting more effort into my education. Wanting to enter a field that typically required a degree, I started applying for jobs. Surprisingly, I secured an interview with an internationally recognized company in the energy sector. The catch was, they required university transcripts. With a bit of ingenuity in Photoshop, I fabricated my proof of graduation. Submitting the falsified documents, along with other required information, I sailed through 3 interviews and secured a position with a starting salary of $72,500 CDN. My tenure with the company extended to nearly 5 years, during which I underwent extensive job training and received annual raises. The management staff, impressed with my performance during the hiring process, overlooked my lack of an actual degree. The guilt of my fabricated academic credentials occasionally nagged at me, but as time passed, I convinced myself that my skills and contributions spoke louder than any piece of paper. Over the years, I became an integral part of the team, climbing the professional ladder and earning the respect of colleagues and superiors. Despite the success, the shadow of my fabricated degree lingered, occasionally triggering guilt and self-doubt. The fear of exposure remained, but I pushed it to the background, focusing on my accomplishments and contributions to the company. As I assumed leadership roles, the fear of discovery heightened. Daunting scenarios played out in my mind, envisioning sudden audits, chance encounters with knowledgeable colleagues, or changes in company policy that could expose my fabricated past. The anxiety associated with potential exposure became a constant companion, intensifying with each career milestone. Networking events and professional interactions became minefields, with the fear of encountering someone familiar with my supposed alma mater. The careful crafting of responses to inquiries about my academic journey became a defensive art form, adding an extra layer of stress to social interactions. The responsibility of managing a team brought a moral dilemma, contemplating the impact on both personal and professional fronts if the truth were to surface. Despite these challenges, my career continued to thrive. The accolades and promotions accumulated, creating a paradoxical existence where success and fear coexisted. The more I achieved, the more precarious the illusion became, leading me to wonder how much longer I could maintain the delicate balance between accomplishment and the hidden truth. As years passed, I found myself deeply entangled in the web of deceit I had spun. The fear of exposure became a relentless companion, gnawing at the edges of my confidence. Success and achievement, once celebrated, now carried the weight of an impending reckoning. I wondered if my journey would ultimately be defined by the fabricated degree I had clung to for so long. The professional accolades continued to pile up, but the internal conflict grew more pronounced. The dichotomy between the respected professional I had become and the individual harboring a concealed truth became increasingly difficult to reconcile. I oscillated between moments of pride in my accomplishments and waves of guilt that threatened to engulf me. In moments of solitude, the nagging question of whether I could continue down this path lingered. The fear of exposure, once a distant concern, now felt like a relentless specter, a silent whisper threatening to unravel everything. I contemplated confessions that hovered on the edge of my thoughts, rehearsing the words I might one day have to utter. The longer the charade persisted, the more precarious the balance became, and the more I grappled with the consequences of my actions.
I gave a lactose-intolerant customer dairy on purpose. I know this sounds weird, but when I worked at Starbucks, there was a regular customer who was notoriously difficult and not very nice. From the very beginning of my training, my coworkers warned me about her. She was a fixture, coming in every morning, attempting to rush the workers and making other customers feel uncomfortable. Despite 3 months of dealing with her antics, the tipping point came one morning when she caused absolute chaos. She began by complaining about her drink while one of my coworkers was in the process of making it. As soon as she got it, she purposefully spilled it and demanded an entirely different drink. My patience was wearing thin, so when she wanted a frappuccino and headed to the bathroom while we were working on her new order, I took matters into my own hands. I switched places with my coworker and made the drink with regular milk instead of almond milk. The drink was ready by the time she left the bathroom, and she took a sip without complaining. Little did she know about the switcheroo. However, 5 hours later, she called Starbucks from the hospital, and I happened to answer the call. She had gotten into a car accident trying to rush to a bathroom and, unfortunately, had an accident in her pants. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and guilt, knowing she got her karma. After that incident, the difficult customer avoided Starbucks for a while. When she eventually returned, surprisingly, she was much more polite. It seemed the experience had a significant impact on her behavior. The Starbucks environment became more pleasant overall, and I continued to work there, realizing the importance of professionalism even in challenging situations. As life went on, my Starbucks days became filled with unexpected drama. I discovered that the difficult customer had a complicated personal life, involving tangled relationships and workplace conflicts. Rumors circulated among the staff about her dramatic encounters, adding an extra layer of intrigue to the already eventful coffee shop. In the midst of this drama, I found myself entangled in a workplace love triangle, completely unrelated to the difficult customer. 2 co-workers were secretly dating, and when their secret was exposed, it led to awkward tension and shifts in the workplace dynamics. It was a soap opera playing out amidst the espresso machines and pastry displays. Despite all the drama, my time at Starbucks taught me invaluable lessons about handling challenging situations, maintaining professionalism, and the unexpected turns life can take in a seemingly ordinary job. The coffee shop became a microcosm of human interactions, where every cup of coffee held more than just caffeine, it held a story. One particular day, a charismatic new barista joined our team, adding a fresh spark to the daily routine. Little did we know that their arrival would usher in a new chapter of excitement and unpredictability. This barista, known for their magnetic personality, quickly became the center of attention and the subject of many workplace discussions. As the weeks passed, it became evident that the barista had a talent for stirring up conversations and bringing people together. The Starbucks atmosphere transformed into a lively social hub, with customers and staff alike drawn to the charismatic newcomer. The once mundane routine was now punctuated by laughter, animated discussions, and a renewed sense of camaraderie. Amidst the newfound vibrancy, I found myself befriending the enigmatic barista, drawn to their infectious energy and positive spirit. Together, we navigated the daily challenges of the coffee shop, from demanding customers to intricate drink orders. Our friendship extended beyond the workplace, and we often found ourselves exploring the city together after our shifts. However, the harmony was disrupted when rumors started circulating about the barista's mysterious past. Whispers of a hidden identity and a dramatic history intrigued and puzzled the entire Starbucks team. The drama intensified as the barista's ex-lover, now a customer at our store, entered the scene, creating tension and raising eyebrows. Navigating through this new wave of drama, I realized that the coffee shop had evolved into more than just a place of work. It was a stage for unfolding stories, a tapestry of intertwined lives. As the weeks unfolded, the charismatic barista's past was gradually revealed, unraveling a narrative filled with unexpected twists and turns. The Starbucks saga continued to unfold, and with each passing day, the line between reality and coffee-fueled drama blurred. The regular customers became avid spectators, eagerly anticipating the next chapter of the ongoing saga. The coffee shop transformed into a community theater, where the barista's charisma took center stage, leaving an indelible mark on the caffeine-infused tales of our everyday lives.
I make copies of other people's keys for personal use. It all started innocently enough, a key entrusted to me for pet sitting or house sitting. But there was a curious habit that emerged with every borrowed key, a visit to Walmart for a quick copy. It wasn't driven by malicious intent or a desire to engage in nefarious activities. Instead, it became a peculiar fascination with the idea of having access to spaces that were not rightfully mine. I want to clarify that my actions never escalated to breaking into houses with the intent of theft. The extent of my invasions was limited to an occasional snack raid from the pantry or sipping on a bit of the owner's wine. My endeavors were driven more by curiosity and a sense of thrill rather than any malicious motives. The collection of keys grew over time, a haphazard assortment of metal tokens granting access to various homes and a couple of buildings or garages from my previous job. Each key, a silent witness to the trust others placed in me, became a peculiar source of empowerment. The feeling of possessing keys to different places, spaces where I didn't rightfully belong, provided a rush of excitement that was hard to resist. The process became routine. A friend or colleague would hand over their key for a legitimate reason, perhaps to take care of their pets or keep an eye on their residence. In return, would reciprocate with a seemingly harmless promise to return the key promptly upon their return. Little did they know, a copy of their key was already in the making. Walmart, with its unassuming key-cutting service, became my accomplice in this peculiar hobby. The act of duplicating keys was strangely inconspicuous, hidden in the routine of daily life. The copies were tucked away in a secret drawer, a clandestine collection of metal replicas that held the potential to unlock doors to different worlds. As the collection expanded, so did the thrill. Each key represented a portal to a private realm, a realm I could enter at will, unnoticed and unrestricted. It was a game, a peculiar dance between trust and secrecy. My actions never ventured into criminal territory, rather, they were a peculiar exploration of boundaries and a quest for a sensation of control over spaces not my own. Perhaps it was the allure of the forbidden, the excitement of knowing a secret that others were oblivious to. The keys weren't just metal, they were tokens of a peculiar power, a power to navigate through lives and spaces, even if just metaphorically. Over time, as my collection grew, so did my reflection on the ethics of my actions. The rush of excitement began to wane, replaced by a sense of guilt and unease. What had started as a seemingly harmless habit now felt like a breach of trust, a violation of the unspoken agreements that define human relationships. It was then that I decided to break the cycle. The keys, once a source of exhilaration, were returned to their rightful owners, along with a confession of my unusual habit. The act of coming clean was a cathartic release, a step towards mending the trust that had been unknowingly strained. The journey with borrowed keys taught me a valuable lesson about the boundaries of trust and the importance of respecting the sanctity of personal spaces. What began as a quirky fascination eventually transformed into a moment of self-reflection, leading me to reconsider the impact of my actions on the bonds I shared with others.